Hello, this is Nathan Oxenfeld with Integral Eyesight Improvement. I am here in Tuscany, Italy, in the small village called Petigliano, which you can see behind me. It is this astounding, historic hilltop village perched up on top of this hill, kind of carved into this volcanic tuff stone. I've been so impressed with it. It's super charming. I just actually filmed a natural vision vlog walking through the little narrow alleyways and streets. So definitely check that out as well. But the reason I'm here in Italy, well, there's several reasons. But the first and foremost is that I'm here to speak at the Colored Light event later this month in May. This is the first in-person gathering being put on by the Color Lights World Project that I've been a part of since 2020. So I definitely did not want to miss this opportunity to come to Italy for work. Never been to Italy before. And the other work-related thing I'm doing here is writing. It's 2025, which means that it's been 10 years since I first put out my book, Give Up Your Glasses for Good, and started teaching the Bates method full time. It's also when I started my YouTube channel and my podcast, the Naked Eye Podcast. And it's been so amazing devoting myself to this fully for 10 years now, a whole decade, which is part of why I wanted to address the topic in today's Bates Method 101 video, which is, does the Bates method really work? Because it's a question I get quite often, especially when I travel and I come to new places and meet new people and introduce myself and tell them what I do. And most people are pretty interested and impressed about the fact that vision can potentially improve naturally, since even though it's been around for 100 years, few people actually know it exists and know how it works. So that's usually one of the first questions I get once I explain is, does it really work? And I just want to film this short video to answer that question with a resounding yes. The Bates method can work. It has worked for 100 years or more. It may work differently for different people or at varying degrees. And there's many, many different factors that determine the outcome of your vision improvement and how much your vision can improve and how much you can drop your prescription and your glasses and things like that. But I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands of people over the past 10 years, and the success rate is pretty amazing in terms of people experiencing all kinds of benefits by practicing the Bates method. Maybe not every single person is able to go 100% and get fully off their glasses or get completely to 2020 or 2015 or 2010 vision, which is generally what I'm, encouraging people to work towards. But I always love reminding people that the Bates method is not really only just about the eyesight, it's really about life improvement, not just vision in terms of how you see physically, but there's so much more to the Bates method that I'm really excited for you to explore and discover. And that's really the beauty of the Bates method, is it's all based on your personal experience. It's your vision. Nobody else in the entire world can see what you see. Only you have your vision, and it's your gift. You get to play with it and work with it and learn from it. And I found in my own experience is that when I was wearing glasses or contacts, I was kind of ignoring my eyes in a sense. And I really wasn't connecting in with my true natural vision. It's been such a gift for me to take the glasses off and learn about myself and get to the point where I can see 20/20 or better. It's amazing to, board an airplane to fly to Italy and not bring any corrective lenses. Talk to me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that would be completely out of the question. I was completely dependent on glasses and contacts to do anything. Right when I woke up in the morning, first thing, glasses on or contacts in, all day long until it's time to go to sleep. I couldn't do anything without them. Well, that's not true. I could see up close because I was nearsighted, but I didn't even think of doing that because my eye doctor told me to wear them all the time, even for reading and computers. So it's extremely liberating, but it can also be a little confusing if you're first looking into this stuff, this natural vision world and the Bates method specifically, because there's a lot of conflicting information out there on the internet. One example being the Wikipedia page about the Bates method that is pretty biased against the Bates method. And, certain claims are made about, no scientific proof, or, it can even be dangerous if you practice it, which is really wild because if you really look and study the Bates method, it's all about rest and relaxation, right? You can't hurt yourself or damage your eyes from relaxing. That's silly, right? Palming, you cover your eyes with your palms just to block the light. It's not like you're pushing your palms into your eyes or applying any pressure to them. You're just resting your eyes. And after you rest them, you may actually feel better and see better. Not just physically see better, but you may feel better mentally. Maybe your stress levels go down. A simple way to think about the Bates method is just a form of stress management. We live in a very stressful world, and we need ways to manage our stress and how to cope with the stresses that we're introduced to. And, I mentioned the internet a moment ago, and computers. That's another huge reason why we need the Bates method today. It's been around for 100 years, long before screens even existed. But look at the world we live in now. We're surrounded by these digital displays, these artificial blue lights shining into our eyes throughout the day, throughout the night. People are staring so much. And that's what's damaging the eyes, not the Bates method. So we really need this as we keep evolving with our human civilization. And it's not like we have to stop using screens. That's one of my passions, actually, is to teach people how to apply the Bates method during screen time. It's a big thing that I've done because I primarily work with people online at a distance on Zoom in my online courses and doing these videos and podcasts and stuff. So it can be done. Not only can, yes, the Bates method work in general, but it can even work in our modern civilization when we have to work on screens all day, or if we have to use glasses for certain activities. That was the topic of the vlog I did in town there, is glasses. How do we use them and when to use them or not to use them, how to incorporate them into the Bates method process. So I really pride myself in my ability to have not only gone through this process myself and reduced and reversed my own myopia and astigmatism primarily with the Bates method and other things, but then to take this on as a full-time job and devote my life to helping other people improve their vision naturally with the Bates method, and even adapting it into our modern world with all these screens around us. And if you want to get a little preview of how I do that personally, that was something I shared in the previous Natural Vision vlog, number 5, about the importance of your peripheral vision during screen time. If you're wondering if the Bates method works, then I encourage you to consider the worldwide natural vision improvement community, this group of teachers from all around the world who this worked for and have helped hundreds, if not thousands, of other people improve their own vision as well. I mean, it goes all the way back to Dr. Bates. He was actually farsighted, and he used this method to improve his own vision, his own near vision, and then inspiring his protege, Margaret Darst Corbett, who wrote Help Yourself to Better Sight, and then also the world-renowned author, Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World and Doors of Perception. He wrote a book called The Art of Seeing, one of my absolute favorites about the Bates method. And these are people from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s. More recently, there's a very vibrant and active community of vision teachers who are alive today and teaching this, including myself. But people like my vision teacher, Dr. Jerry Ann Tabor, Dr. Ray Gottlieb, Dr. Jacob Lieberman, Dr. Mark Grossman, Dr. Roberto Kaplan. Janet Goodrich from Australia and her daughter Karina Goodrich, Esther Joy Vanderwerf, rest in peace, Greg Marsh in Colorado, Kate Kyleman in Hawaii, Barry Alcatel, originally from Australia, now in Florida, Mayor Schneider with his very inspiring recovery, Maurizio Cagnoli from here in Italy, Wolfgang Hetcher Rosenbauer from Germany and the whole German association. There's the whole Italian Association of Teachers. Inoa de Federico from Mexico and the big impact she's been having on the world, as well as Claudia Muhlenweg in California, Orit Kruglansky from Spain, and Anat Axelrod from Israel, Lilla Ungveri from Hungary, Eileen Whiteford from Scotland, Margaret Montgomery and Kevin Wooding and Lizzie May from the UK, Anna Bainbridge in Ireland. And like I said, these are all people that the Bates method not only worked for, but literally inspired them to devote their lives to teaching this and helping other people improve their vision too. And many of these people I named are actually featured in our brand new anthology book called A New World of Seeing: Practices and Principles of Natural Vision Improvement. So if you're curious and skeptical or wondering if this works and how it works, I really think that's a great starting point, because you get to hear from 43 different vision teachers from around the world to get so many different perspectives of how this really can work for you. So if you haven't gotten that copy yet, you can either get the paperback online or it's also on the Kindle ebook. And right now we're working on creating the audio book as well, because sometimes it's easier to listen as opposed to read, especially if you have a vision problem. But I was reflecting during this trip in Italy about my life, because the other thing that like I said, I'm working on writing while I'm here. So not only am I planning on putting out a new edition of my current book, sort of a 10-year anniversary edition of Give Up Your Glasses for Good, where I'm going to be adding in some updated teachings that I've been developing since the last edition came out in 2018. But I'm also working on a new book, a little bit more of like an autobiography in a sense, a little bit more about me sharing my story of how I improved my vision naturally, some of the successes and challenges, and you might be able to learn some things from my experience. I know I learned a lot from my vision teacher just by talking to her and learning about how she improved her vision. But I find it kind of wild that my generation, I'm a millennial, we're these people who have gone through so much in a pretty short amount of time. I grew up before the internet is what it is today. My childhood was spent outside playing in the sun, in nature, in the woods, with my friends in person, not through a screen. And then, my family got a computer. We had the dial-up internet. You couldn't use the phone at the same time as people were on the web. Video game consoles started becoming a thing. So then my friends and I did start, looking at screens more and spending more time inside. And now, the internet exploded and it's this amazing communication tool and device. It's how, we're doing this right now. But now, more recently, this whole introduction of AI and artificial intelligence too, it's this whole new burgeoning field, kind of like the internet was. So to be able to live, and see what the world was like before AI, the birth of it, and starting to see the potential of it moving forwards, I feel motivated to be continuing to put things out into the world, affirming that yes, the Bates method does work. I don't want to necessarily frame this as sort of an us versus them, but it is interesting. I have started using Chat GPT and AI and, typing in prompts and stuff and seeing how these different AI models are sourcing all this information from all around the internet. And I don't want the Wikipedia page to be this thing that deters people from trying the Bates method, because honestly, trying the Bates method and implementing it in your life can be a complete game changer. It can really change how you see, not just how you see physically with your eyes, but how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you see your life and your purpose. The people who take their glasses off and start improving their vision naturally with the Bates method end up becoming happier. They become more optimistic. They become more self-empowered. And it generally doesn't stop there. Improving vision leads to other things opening up in life. You start to see more opportunities show up. You start to see more synchronicities in your life. I'm just so excited as I talk about it because the potential is just massive, especially if this really spreads on a much larger scale and people start waking up to the fact that they don't maybe necessarily need the glasses as much as they thought they did. And I simply invite you to try it yourself. I'm not here to, convince you that it works. I'm here to open the door and invite you to walk through yourself. It is a possibility that your vision can improve naturally. And I want to plant a little seed in your imagination of your life without glasses. What would that look like? What would that feel like? What would it be like to board a plane and leave your glasses at home? And I love how people have left comments underneath my YouTube videos sharing their experience of how the Bates method works. I just read one last night of someone in their 70s saying that he still does not need reading glasses to see fine details up close because he started practicing the Bates method when he was 12. It's not inevitable that people need reading glasses as they age. It probably happens because we're not doing anything to prevent it. The Bates method is almost more of a powerful prevention method than it is a reversal method, although it still does work as a reversal method if you've already started developing a vision problem. Dr. Bates was way ahead of his time, and his whole, plea was that he just wanted to relieve the suffering of humanity. Vision problems and eye strain and blurry eyesight and eye diseases, they all lead to suffering, essentially. It causes mental strain and stress. It makes life more difficult to live. It makes life less enjoyable. It takes the joy and the energy and the vitality out. It takes the color out. That's why I'm here to share this message about natural vision improvement at the Colored Light event, to bring the color back, to bring the joy back, and bring the excitement back to life through the eyes, through the vision. And I really look forward to the next 10 years of continuing to share this message and travel around the world and keep putting out videos and continue with the Naked Eye podcast and the Better Eyesight podcast. And that kind of brings me to this other big reason why I decided to make this big trip to Italy. And it was inspired by Esther Joy Vanderwerf, who unfortunately just passed away 2 months ago, somewhat unexpectedly. And I've already put out a podcast honoring Esther and remembering Esther as my friend, my colleague, my co-host of the Better Eyesight podcast. So if you haven't listened to that, definitely check that out in the Naked Eye podcast feed or the Better Eyesight podcast feed, because in her, final days and in her parting reflections and messages to us as a vision community was how grateful she was that natural vision improvement enabled her to travel the world. And that kind of lit a fire under me. And, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, should I go to Italy or not? It's kind of a big trip, a big expense. But I wanted to kind of, follow in Esther's footsteps and really not miss these opportunities to, have these powerful life experiences. And I'm so glad I'm here. And I'm so glad and grateful for Esther for the light that she shined in the world and shared the Bates method with so many people, myself included. I probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for Esther and her help and her guidance along the way. So I'll leave it at there for now. I really appreciate you for watching and listening. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, definitely do that so you can be updated when I keep releasing new vision vlogs and Bates Method 101 videos and Naked Eye podcast interviews. Head over to my main website, integraleyesight.com, for more information about all that stuff, as well as information about actually working together, whether working through one of my online programs, working with me one-on-one, or now this new opportunity to work with some of my teacher trainees as I start building this team of natural vision teachers to be able to help even more people. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.